I lay low for long to find out all the details of my wife cheating, then I did. Final update. Hi everyone, welcome back to another Reddit cheating story. Before we start, please hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell so you won't miss another cheating story goes live. Wednesday, October 27th. Well, it's now been a year since my first post on Reddit, so thought it would be fitting to give one last update and end things here. First things first, I'm now officially divorced. Feels like a weight has been lifted, but also a firm end to what was nearly a third of my life. I actually saw my ex-wife for the first time since last December as I was walking into a shop in the town center about a month back, after visiting a friend. She was opening the door to walk out just as I was walking in. We were both wearing masks, but I noticed it was her right away and we made eye contact. She mumbled something that I couldn't make out, then we just sort of stared at each other for a few seconds, and I walked inside. As I was walking around the shop, this feeling of utter sadness just enveloped me and I had to take a minute to compose myself. It just goes to show, all it takes is one look for you to feel straight back to square one. Do I miss her? No. I miss the person I thought she was, but that person doesn't exist anymore, if she ever did. I don't wish her hurt or hardship though, I really don't. I just refuse to move forward any longer with hatred in my heart. The only person it'll burden in the long run is me. I also found out from a friend's girlfriend that she was sure she saw my ex-wife outside a pub in the city, all over another guy a couple of years back. Apparently she never said anything to me or my friend because she wasn't sure it was her and she didn't want to meddle. I'm extremely pissed off with her, as I could have done with that information years ago. It's hardly conclusive, but I could have confirmed if she was out that night, etc., and it would have saved me a lot of heartache in the long run. Now I know why I've never liked her. One of the reasons we wanted to book a flight to New York in October, apart from wanting to see NY in autumn, was that the travel ban between the USA and UK was supposed to be lifting in September for fully vaccinated travelers. Unfortunately, that has now been moved back to November 8th, which has put our plans into limbo. My friend also can't get the time off work now till the new year, so if I'm to go then I'll have to go alone, which is a bit shit since we were both invested in going together. I'm pretty set on going in the new year with him, though I'll have to think things through more thoroughly. One thing this pandemic has consistently been able to do is throw up curveballs, so I really can't complain or say I'm surprised. I'll get there though, by hook or by crook. This is just the start of my journey in that regard, remember? I'm struggling when it comes to my parents, and that all I feel towards them is complete apathy. I'm just having a difficult time feeling anything, and no matter how hard I try, I don't think that'll change. My dad has tried to build back the relationship again, but I just don't care anymore. That might sound harsh, but it's the truth. I said in my last post that I wanted them to put the house in my name, though I haven't followed up on that. I think I was just angry at the time and wanted to assert some dominance at the outset of our conversations, but I really couldn't give a fuck about that house. I think I would rather live in the house from Nightmare on Elm Street than there. It wouldn't change anything anyway. It can't turn back time unless it's turned into a time-traveling house since I've gone, or circumvent what they did. It's just the sad consequence of the choices they made. To anyone out there thinking of forgiving a cheater, please don't, I implore you. You're flogging a dead horse. Don't be that person, desperately scrambling to put out fires started by your cheater partner while they gleefully reignite them. I feel stronger than ever after everything that's happened and reading a lot of infidelity support forums in the last year, that you're letting yourself in for a world of hurt if you don't cut your losses. Kind of a relevant story, but at the start of the year, I had a really scary experience when I cut the back of my trouser leg on a metal bin while brushing against it at work. I never realized it had caused a cut until I went home, and when I went to bed at night, I felt kinda weird. I woke up about 2 a.m. and my leg was pulsating. I felt deathly ill, was seeing double, dizzy, and was alternating between a severe fever and chills. I understood right away it could be sepsis, so I phoned an ambulance, which they said was going to be 2 hours plus, as it was a Friday night and at height of COVID, and my thoughts were doing light speed laps around my head while I was hyperventilating like crazy. Do you know the only thing that calmed me down when I was freaking the fuck out? I accepted that I was possibly going to die, and then for some reason, I just didn't feel afraid anymore. I don't know if it was the whole accepting fate state of mind, but when I accepted that it might be over, it took all the permutations out of the equation and everything became very simple and calm. I've been thinking about it a lot lately, and when I think about cheating/betrayal, I feel very similar. You have to accept that what you had is over. It's long gone if someone is willing to plunder such depths and stab you in the back so mercilessly for their own gratification. Fighting that unwinnable battle is noble and all, but when you're pissing into the wind with lottery odds of success, is it worth it? Is it worth the pain? I don't think so. I understand everyone has their own situations with kids etc., but some fights are just straight up folly. Accept that it's over and things will quickly become clearer, that's just my view. It's only after we've lost everything that we're free to do anything. Tyler Durden Fight Club. It's funny, I haven't written about my thoughts and feelings since I was in high school. I work up roofs for a living. This experience though has coaxed that side out of me, a side that I had pretty much forgotten existed. If something good has come from this fiasco, it's that I'm not going to bottle things up any longer. It's been cathartic for me to get things out there and see the bigger picture of my situation. Writing things down has helped me more than I ever imagined, so it's something I'm going to continue to do, even if it's just writing to myself on a journal or notepad. I think there are instances in your life, when all said and done, that you can put a pin in and say, things were on a knife edge that day and could have gone either way. I shudder to think what would have happened had I not reached out for help on here, or seen those dog walkers. I'd likely have been blackout drunk, at death's door in a ditch somewhere, or in jail for firing Darren aka jacket holder straight through his fucking window frame after going through his house like a tornado. Honestly though, it frightens me to think where I'd have ended up if things had gone south. I was not in a good way, and being drunk, embarrassed and incandescent with rage is a combination that can cause chaos whatever way you cut it. In the end, I'm just happy I made it out the other side without hurting myself or someone else. Most of my posts have been about the ins and outs of what was happening. However, I think the last few have been more about how I feel towards what has happened. Betrayal just renders such passionate and invasive thoughts. There's no action on this earth quite like it. Being stabbed in the back by people that you love. In so many ways it's unique, and the emotions you feel after it are by the same token, equally unique. So cheers for hearing me out. I said in my first post after finding out that I felt like a worse person than I was yesterday. Well, after everything that has happened, I feel like a stronger one too. Thank you for reading my story. Here are some best comments from our community. Thank you so much for sharing your story here. I have been feeling so weak wanting to forgive the person that cheated on me, but reading about your strength here slapped me across the face in the best way. I can't believe you handled everything so well. I took screenshots of this so I could read it anytime I'm feeling sorry for myself. You seem like an incredible person and I wish you nothing but the best in life. Thanks for saving me. That's needlessly cruel to say. A woman in her 30s is now no longer valued for anything other than a hookup. What she did was wrong, but why use that as an opportunity to bash women as a whole? You really think a woman in her 30s, all women in their 30s, are not worthy of being loved? That's a very hurtful outlook. Most people are worthy of being loved. But you're not entitled to love, sex, or commitment from anyone. Marriage is risky for men. We risk losing half of our assets, and throughout history we've run the risk of being cuckolded by a promiscuous woman. That's why a woman's sexual fidelity is extremely important to us. And a woman with a history of infidelity is a terrible choice for marriage. Men have to bring a lot to the table for women to consider them as husband material, and those men who are desirable for marriage have their own preferences, mostly due to millions of years of evolution. Men tend to prefer young, beautiful, feminine women who are at low risk of cheating on us. That's the truth. Most men will happily hook up with a woman in her 30s who is divorced due to infidelity. But few of them will consider her for marriage if they have other options. A 30-something-year-old woman who got divorced due to infidelity is a person with no upside to any man looking for a later. She is at a point where her fertility is low and her risk of taking the man's assets is very high. Basically, she is someone with nothing to offer because risk/reward is extremely unfavorable. A man will look at her and think it is safer to hire her as a maid cook with benefits than to wed her. This way his monthly outlays are very predictable, whereas as a wife the outlay is unpredictable, with worst case being catastrophic and she might not even clean and cook. She already showed the world the market segment she belongs. Just read your whole story, top to bottom. Really touched, and so glad I kept reading to find out that you are finally feeling some peace and hopefulness for the future. I was shaking my head and just so upset for you with the horrible iWatch Discovery situation being followed up by another betrayal by family who are supposed to have your back. I completely understand why you couldn't just forgive your ex-wife. People who don't understand that are the kind that think things only matter if you get caught. Being so ready to live completely dishonestly, as she seemed ready to do, is indicative of so much more. Like you said, it was as if you thought you'd known this person but you didn't. My husband works in construction, on roofs all the time, specifically. And gets up for work at 5:32. Don't know why that matters, it just made me connect to your story more, and honestly your writing was very easy to connect to. I'm so glad it's been a good experience for you to write as well, and that you stuck to your guns about leaving, and that things are looking up. Well, congratulations, I think that's appropriate here. Ha, who knows? From a total internet stranger in another country, and I hope you are able to work out that trip with your friend sometime soon. Thanks for the updates. You have been wonderfully open. You're really on your way to a new and better life. I hope your parents get serious about you as well. One thing, not all relationships with one partner cheating are doomed. Best for most is get separated. Some couples stay together and never return to a loving relationship. But I know personally of one exception. They work through it and are really capable of love, going strong for more than 15 years since it happened. But that's the only exception I know. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell for any future cheating stories.